Thank you so much for joining us for this carrier update brought to you by PowerFleet. I'm here with the one and only Zach Strickland. Zach, what do we have?
So capacity easing in both reefer and van, even though it's a little bit more difficult to see on the van side because of the scale here, but capacity is continuing to ease up a little bit. 22.37% on the outbound tender rejection index for van loads in the United States, 33% compared to the 51% back in early March for reefer rejection rates. However, we've talked about it the last couple of days, Anthony, trending down on the rejection rates, easing, contract rates are coming up, making it a little bit easier for carriers to choose to cover the contracts versus jump into the spot market and make that money. So that's one of the big reasons it's coming out. Demand, however, has not fallen. And if we jump into the map, this is going to show us where in the United States some of our biggest tightest markets are, and some of the biggest risk to the rest of the market capacity. So we've got the dark blues here for the capacity trend scores, showing where the tightest markets are in the United States. We got Atlanta, down here around Savannah, Jacksonville of all places, crazy as that sounds. Columbus, up here, Joliet, Illinois, relatively tight compared to the rest of the market, as well as Dallas. But my focus for the next little bit is going to be out west. So traditionally speaking, we don't really think about Los Angeles and West Coast volumes until the third and fourth quarter, when all that import freight comes in and you get a lot of that warehouse freight dumping into the East Coast, getting ready for retail peak. Right. But Los Angeles has been a huge bellwether for the freight market, as we talked about for the last probably several years at this point because of the trade war, et cetera. But something that just occurred though, UP, Union Pacific, suspending service to clear up some of this congestion around the Chicago market so they can get some of those containers out. If we look at the rail volumes real quick here, we've got our international rail volumes, the 20s and 40s that come off the boats, basically hop right onto the rail, head east. Not happening as much. A lot of those containers are needed out west or in China, where they can make a lot of money for those shippers. $7,000 to $10,000 on average. And then we've got our domestic loaded container volumes. These are the 53 footers, that fit on the rail, but they can also fit on a chassis for a truck. Not as much movement here, but still slightly coming down. But you look at this, right after the 4th of July, starting to peak back up. Yeah. So let's look at Los Angeles and Ontario real quick. Ontario volumes right here in the blue, you can definitely see a large trend line. And if you remember our loaded rail index, that was going down. Yeah. These are starting to come up. So we're already seeing a lot of that freight transitioning onto the truckload sector, more than likely. And then you've got our Los Angeles volumes. Again, the scale's kind of hiding the fact that this is also trending higher as well. Tender rejections, not as much though. I mean, they came back down after the 4th of July. I think the big risk factor though moving forward is not necessarily in Los Angeles, because carriers already know this is a super hot area, but look at the volatility here. Right. I mean, the rejection rates for a huge market at that, bouncing between about 14.5% there at the beginning of the year, but coming all the way back up to 25%, and we were just around 23% around the 4th of July. Large swings in tender rejection rates, huge risk coming forward here out of Los Angeles. Carriers though quick to recover, they tamp it down, but then what does that mean? The rest of the country is also left wide open as they're running out, just like the maritime container shippers are trying to get all their containers back to the west, right, or east, I guess technically, depending on how you get around the globe. Carriers are trying to get back out west so they can bring that freight back and make a lot more money on that long length of haul.
Amazing. Zach, seems like a lot going on, and a lot of it's happening or based around the area within California. Thank you so much for this update.